Thank you so much, Tom. Thanks to Booksmith for having me. I really wouldn't have wanted to have this any other place but Booksmith. And this novel is about my hometown, Chicago, but in a lot of ways that's like a mythical hometown. I mean, I've been here 10 years now, and I feel more at home tonight than I have in a long time. So thank you all for coming. There's a lot of faces I know, and some I don't even, which is really nice too. But I really appreciate you guys coming out. I know there's a lot going on in the city tonight, so thank you for coming. I'm gonna just talk. What should I say? The book. I think what I was most trying to do, if I could distill it, is that I was trying to track the ways in which the memory, how strange memory works, and how I mean, one day I'm going to write a linear book that's going to be point A to point, it's going to have a story that, where a person moves through a story and does things and things happen to, and in my imagination, in my mind or whatever, something happens where I at least in this book, I was trying to track how memory is so fragmentary, how it doesn't, I mean, how I'll be walking down the street and I'll remember 1978, then I'll move to 1992, then I'll move to 2002, then I'll move, back to 74. And so the book tries to mimic that. So I'm going to jump around a little bit tonight, and I think that will give you at least some idea. It's always really difficult, I think, and there's a lot of novelists here, and I know how, you know how hard it is to talk about a novel in a way that's going to make any sense. So I'm not going to talk too much about it, except to say that it's about memory and a family in Chicago that is 4 generations, actually 5 that's touched on. It's how, how love goes wrong in all those different levels of generations. And I'm going to bounce around a lot. I'm going to start with a character who's the grandmother of the sort of lead character. The lead character is named Popper. And this is his grandmother, Bernice, who's a dancer. And we're in Chicago in 1951. She stands before the mirrors in the ballet studio on East Jackson Boulevard. Sweat leaks down her face, her neck, her chest, soaking the front of her leotard. This body, this sweat. It all might be over, but nobody can take this body, this sweat, even at this small-time level. And yes, once there was more. Yes, once the great Lincoln Kirstein himself had seen her dancing for Ruth Page in Frankie and Johnny in the Chicago Opera. Bernice was only a background girl, nobody special, but after the performance. And how often does she remember this? While the principals, Faye and Irene, and the rest of the pratty titterers were talking a mile a minute, Lincoln Kirstein approached her, bland Bernice, his huge forehead gleaming, and said, as if nothing could be more simple, "Why not come and dance in New York?" So she didn't have the talent to stay. Who says anybody has to have the talent? She went, didn't she? Bernice extends her arms, slides, runs a step, half turns, pauses, muffs a tourgette, lands, turns, slides, slides left, slides right, is about to leap again. Telly, the office girl, pokes her head into the studio. Long-boned, stork-like, dreamy, can dance. Bernice? Yes? Your son's here. Handsome. Bernice grips the bar and raises her left leg. In the mirror, she examines the small pouches below her eyes. She was 19 then. She came home from New York 4 months later. Tell him I'm busy. My handbag's on the bench. Tell him he can take what he needs. Her body slackens. Her men, their need. Seymour came back from the war terrified of his own children. Esther's crying in the night used to send him over the edge of the bed. Man overboard. He'll never get over the war. He felt so alive, he says. They should have sent women to fight the Japanese. We wouldn't have come back sentimental about it after. Drop the bomb and be done with it. We got kids to raise. And now Philip's growing up like his father. All the talk, the charm, the confidence, but like Seymour, isn't something missing? She leaps. Again, lands wobbly, and thinks she knows. Hell, you don't even need talent. Only a little grace. And it's free, Seymour, Phil. It's free, my precious dolts. You don't have to scheme or lie or cheat or bluster for it. And when did I start forgetting this myself? Now again. Right foot and back, arm in arabesque, toes never leave the floor, no fancy stuff, pinch fanny, front, back, front. Plie, turn, and hold it. The room begins to fill with students. Bernice stops and mops her head with a towel.